afternoon for Seraglio Point TV. We're here today outside the beautiful St Paul's in Worthing, talking to Stage Van H, who's here. Say hello, Stage.
Good afternoon, people.
That's not your actual name, is it, Stage?
No, it isn't. But my real name is a little bit longer and more difficult. So Stage Van H is also even shorter. It used to be Stage van Holland, but after years I just cut it to Stage Van H. The real name is George Panagolopoulos, so that's a little bit more difficult for the people. So I used to have the Stage Van H name.
And are you completely Greek, or is there more to the story than that?
No, I'm not completely Greek. I'm half Dutch, half Greek. I was born in Holland. My father was Greek, my mother is Dutch, and was born and raised in Holland. And when I was 20 years old, as a DJ, I had an invitation in Greece, and I went to Greece for 15 years. And after that, back and forth to Holland and Greece, and now I'm in England, in London. So, you know, that's the long story in a short version.
As inside yourself, is there a tension between your Greek side and your Dutch side, or is it not like that?
There's not a tension. The only thing, when I was born and raised in Holland, I really thought I was Dutch, and when I went to Greece, I felt after a few years that I'm Greek. In my soul, in my heart, the place there, the rhythm, the whole thing, the climate was, I felt at home there. So it's not an issue, but you know, at the end I hope to go back to Greece because that's the place where I belong.
And as you moved those feelings to Worthing, how did that impact you as a person and an artist?
Well, the thing was, I was in the beginning a little bit afraid of coming to Worthing because of my girlfriend. Not the seagulls, but I saw that there was not really a club culture or dance scene, and of course it would be much easier for me if I was going to Brighton or London, of course. But my girlfriend is located in Worthing, so in the beginning I was a little bit afraid of not doing my thing in a place where nobody knows me, so we had to start all over again. But the good thing was that because I didn't have so many gigs here, I really had time to produce, and that's my main thing nowadays anyway. So in the 2 years that I'm here, I really produced a lot and some really quality things that I didn't expect to do, so it's not bad.
On the subject of you being a producer and your history in dance, I understand that you went to school with Tiesto, which is a very easy line into you giving me a story about that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was that we are the same age, and I remember after not graduating from school because we were never there. We went to a special school where you don't have to do many hours and you still can get your degree. And
it's a DJ school?
No, not a DJ school, but just a normal school. And at that moment, Chester was there as well. So we were attending this school together, and we were friends because we were from the same village. And I started playing in a small night cafe in Holland when I was 16 years old, and I was there the resident DJ. And after 1 or 2 years, I think he came as well to play. He wasn't number one at that time, so we became friends. We started out playing house music, techno music, whatever was available, because at that back in the days there was no label, trance, progressive house or whatever. You just played whatever there was. It was not so much. So we were playing that, but I remember that in the night cafe, the Lente it was called, the boss didn't allow us to play this kind of music. So we were training in the middays in the afternoons, mixing and trying to become DJs. And I saw the talent that he had already, and I got after 4 years I got an invitation to Greece, and I left Horne, and after a few years, you know the story from Chester, that he became number one. So I don't know if I did a good thing to leave, but because he had a really good management, and I knew all the people. He had also a record store, and I used to buy my vinyls there. So, well, we're not in contact nowadays because, of course, he's traveling around the world. But I saw him on some occasions, and we always had a small chat. So yeah, that was the story about us. Yeah.
Hello, Tiesto, if you're watching.
Yeah, nice. Greetings.
Of course, we're talking at the moment about the era of the superstar DJ and all those in the late 90s. You know what I mean with that. What's the change between then and now, especially at your age and where we are?
Well, I think that the big change came, of course, in Europe. It was also like sort of for me, because I was in Greece, the economical crisis, and the club scene has changed. There were a lot of big clubs back in the days, and there were, of course, because there were big clubs, there were big fees, and that has changed a lot the last 10 years. And for me as well, because in Greece the economic crisis was, of course, one of the first countries who got hit by it, and I remember that in Thessaloniki there were like 10 major clubs where I was playing in 7 of them, and they were all playing house music. And nowadays I think there's only 2 left. So for me, it's also, for every DJ, it was more difficult to get the big fee in big clubs, because of course that's when you can pay them. And, the other thing is the musical industry. We went from vinyls to CDs, and now it's all free downloads on the internet. So we cannot make so much money anymore as we used to. So that's a big change, yeah.
That's a question I was going to ask you about the impact of internet on what you do, and I'm sure, like everybody else, as I know you do, that's how I discovered your actual music was by Spotify.
Yes.
And so, what's and your Tenebrotti's got hundreds of thousands of listeners on there, which you weren't aware of.
No, no. That was really a big surprise. Yeah, a good surprise. Yeah, that's everybody has what you say about the internet. Has its good side, it has also its bad sides, and of course the positive side is that the whole world can listen to your music. With the vinyls back in the day, it was just, you know, your own country or just a few countries in Europe. But nowadays you can listen from any country over the world. So your music is really getting to the audience. And I wasn't aware from Spotify that, of course, one of my tracks had so much listeners. But that's a good thing. When one song is doing good, the whole world can listen to it. And okay, again, I didn't make much money off the track, but if you have over 100,000 listeners, that's the purpose, that people know your music and listen to it. So for me, it's all okay.
If you've got a couple of thousand kind of plays on there, that means you could have earned at least 25 quid.
Yes. Well, if it were vinyls, I would have made a lot of money. But yeah, that's the bad side for the new upcoming DJ producers. That you have to make a lot of tracks to start making a living of it. It's almost impossible for the new age. For me, it's now better because I've made over the years about 200-300 tracks, so you're making money from every track a little bit, and you know, that's how you do it. And of course, the money-wise, you make it at your gigs.
Yeah.
And that's how you become popular, by releasing tracks and people inviting you to gigs. So it's not that bad.
What's the biggest gig you've ever played historically, if you remember?
There were a few ones, but I used to play in a place called Space Mobile. It was also called Decadence after the years, but the year that it was Space Mobile, it was I think somewhere in 96, 97, and it was a club for 3,000-4,000 people, and I was playing 4 or 5 days a week, and long hour sets. But even if they brought a big name, now I remember David Morales, they were paying him thousands of euros, and he had sold about 2,700 tickets, and I was playing the next day, and I I just made a small amount, but I had 3,000 people. So, and that was even on a Tuesday. You had 2,000-3,000 people come to your gig. So that was an amazing period. Yeah.
And it was just after that that sort of Erga Greece went bankrupt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that because people weren't going to work, or is it?
No, because they had to. Okay, that's again like outside of the music, but it had to do because they wanted to get into Europe, and I remember that the people didn't want it, but the politicians just went for it, and that's how the problem started, and it was really downhill in a very short time. And
economic crash.
Yes.
Good times, and then
yeah. The thing that the people didn't have money anymore to go out. They were struggling to go out. Normally, you could, what you say, you could go out for a coffee at night. You could go to the club, and it didn't cost so much money. And after that, the prices went up, and people didn't have the money. So it's a logical process of that the clubs were closing. People they didn't make the money. So. But it went very fast in Greece, and that's what I said because I was traveling also to Holland and played there, monthly. And in Holland it was just going steady. It was also a small curve to the downside, but because of I think Holland the base is really good, that they really didn't feel the crisis. And now everything is the same as it used to be. So in Greece they're still struggling.
It's a cliche to put to you that it's very hard to enjoy the kind of music that you make and play if you're not on drugs. And I'm sure a lot of the DJs stamp this one down. What's your view on that cliche?
Yeah, I try to get into it, but it's I don't think it's true. Of course, there was the 90s explosion with of course the ecstasies and all this kind of thing, the dance drugs, what we call them, and it was of course that's why it became so famous, and you had big events and big festivals, and but I don't think that's true that you need drugs to listen to this music. I'm now many years clean, and I'm enjoying my music and making my music and playing my music with more love and more enjoyment than before. So, and I have friends and close clubbers that I know that they're just love to go to dance, and just it's a sort of expression and sort of way out of the normal day. And I think that's where the problem is, that people are not happy in daily life because they have so much to do and so much pressure about paying bills and doing all the things that when they go out in 1 hour they're drunk and it's on the floor. So at least in Holland what I saw, there was not a big problem with that, but because it's also legal and it's all there in the surface, controlled by the government. So of course in the 90s there was a big abuse and there was sort of explosion from the new jobs, but I think that happened also in the generations before that, with the Woodstock and the hippie flower power movements and the rock and roll, and it's just it's like a circle. I'm waiting for the new kind of thing that will come, but it doesn't. It didn't come yet, and that was really for me the most amazing thing, that our music came and stayed. It's now 2 decades already. That's not normal when you see the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s. So we're doing something properly well. I think it's the electronical, what you can do with the computers nowadays. So even the pop music and the rock music, they are using electronical equipment to make it better. So it's a way of how you can use it. Still do rock music and use the science to make it sound better. That's about it.
I don't know how much you know about Mr. Oscar Wilde. I think we talked about it before a little bit. Bits and bobs?
Yeah, bits and bobs from Holland, of course. The stories, we had it on school, and he's a famous person. And,
what sort of impact would you say you can fish for this? Like, has he had over culture? Do you think his ways or his writing, or him as a person?
Yeah, well, that's difficult for me because, like you say, I'm from Holland. I think the English people will have a better view on that. It's being free in your mind. I think it's going your imagination and all these kind of things. It's not be borderland. I say don't have borders and getting out of the box. That's what I do every day also with my music. Try to get out of the box and try with your imagination to find new things or combine things, old things with new things. And
exactly what I'd hope you'd say about that.
Okay, me too. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because in 1894, Oscar Wilde was living in Worthing in the summer. He spent his time there, and that's what the Wildfest is all about. And you're headlining that on the 19th of August.
Yeah, it's a long time, but that's why it's really good to be part of this thing, and I really like it. So I hope we'll have a lot of people coming and enjoying this thing. So and for Worthing, it's something different. So I hope that people will enjoy it.
Hoping to keep the love coming into Worthing with Mr. Stage Van H for Wildfest.
Well, I'm here to stay, so
Good stuff. Done, old boy.